I'm Wes Bohr.
And I'm Caleb Cartwright.
And we are getting a rise.
He means these players are getting a rise.
These players are giving us a rise?
I don't know. I think we mean that these players are on the rise? Whatever.
I don't get it.
Get into it!
Get into it!
Riddle me this. But welcome to life in a fantasy football world. There is actually no riddle. That's the trick. I fooled you, didn't I?
Yeah, you just got me thinking about Batman Forever. A very underrated Batman.
It's really just it's the characters that made it.
Jim Carrey was very underrated in that, man.
He was.
As the Riddler?
Would he have been better today since he's a little bit crazier today?
If he could take the character he was in the number 23 and convert it into the Riddler today, he could definitely make it, man.
One of the actors would have died on set.
Yeah, he's made a turn for the weird. But that back then, that Batman Forever was kind of cartoony, but that was the last Batman until the Christian Bale ones that actually was watchable.
Very watchable. I wish they would go back to that, honestly. But I guess we're apparently not here to talk about Batman.
Welcome to the Batman Podcast.
As you know, every week we talk about Batman and all things Batman related, including Batman masks. And maybe today we'll talk about Batgirl, but probably not.
No, but we are hoping to wrap it up with a little Nightwing and a overview of the new Joker trailer. So if you're here for fantasy football, turn us off.
And we just lost everybody.
All one of them.
So this is your new life in a fantasy football world. Thank you, everybody that has followed us on Twitter, everybody that's been giving us a listen and giving us a chance to really, truly affect your fantasy football life. We are...
Just give us a chance.
Yeah, we are ideally, in an ideal world, we're year-round. And guess what? It is July already. We're getting into draft season. So today we have a wonderful mock draft to get into. We're going to do a little bit of a head-to-head and see who comes out on top. We're going to look at some players that we feel are on the rise this offseason. And maybe some more team breakdowns. And
maybe.
I don't know. Anything else?
I think you pretty much teased them.
Batman, maybe?
Don't push it, Caleb.
All right. We're going to run out of time already.
Yep, and that's it. Kept it under 3 minutes.
As stated before.
How about you get into the news?
You know what? Let's just do it. Yeah, I don't even need to introduce you this time.
Yes, everyone knows I'm John Jorge.
John Foot Penis? It's Hancock now. Why? Good one.
Starting dirty already. Very good.
So, the news today, it's very light, but a couple of things that could have serious implications come your draft season. The first one, we don't know what's going to happen. As we know, some few weeks ago, Ezekiel Elliott had a little altercation outside of a concert, and he is apparently meeting with the commissioner regarding that. Now, even though he wasn't officially arrested, his actions do go against the personal conduct policy. So technically, he could face some sort of short suspension, even if it was just a game.
Say some sort of suspension 3 times fast, Caleb. Some sort of short suspension.
I don't think I can say it clearly one time, the first time through.
That has been confirmed.
So obviously we don't have a lot of information right now, but something to watch, because if he gets any kind of suspension, I think he does. For those that do have him ranked ahead of Saquon, Christian McCaffrey, he's not going to drop far. He's still going to be top 5, and in my opinion, unless he gets like 2-3 games. But
where's he ranked for you?
Where he currently ranked for me, I think he's actually at number 1 for me right now.
Oh, spicy! How if he got a 1-game suspension, would that change it for you?
Literally just a spot, but that's how close I think those top 4 guys are for me. That if I'm getting one less game out of one of them, then they're going to fall to the number 3 or 4 spot. You know what I mean?
Know what I mean?
Next up, Kareem Hunt. was apparently in a bar fight. There's all kinds of rumors swirling around. Some people say, nothing happened. Some people say he did. He already is on an 8-game suspension. If he was actually involved in a bar fight, that could very easily mean that he's not going to be seen the rest of the season at all. That's really about it. Wes, do you have anything to say about either thing?
I would say if Kareem Hunt does miss the season, man, that's great news for Mr. Chubb.
Absolutely.
That changes everything for him. Everyone's outlook for him, man. That throws him in the argument for the first round, So, but who knows? Yeah. I mean, with how they, how they drag their feet with stuff, it doesn't look like anything's going to happen, but it's just, I'm reading it here, there's a small argument, and it doesn't, he probably just gave someone like $10,000 to shut their yapper, and he'll be fine.
Yeah, it's just, again, something to watch if your drafts are coming up. Some people are doing a lot of drafts now. I actually asked the question on when some people are doing their first draft on Twitter, and a guy that we talk with a lot on there, shout out to divisive, he said he had already done 14 drafts. I
saw that, man. Was it Dynasty or is it just regular?
I guess Dynasty at this point. I'm like, that's just too many leagues to be in. But
it's crazy.
So that's a tough thing. You think you want to grab Hunt and hold on to him, but you don't know. So that's really about it. And we'll talk more about, in the future if this does have any implications. What would you like to get into now, Wes?
Let me just think about that for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mock.
Draft.
Ing.
Draft.
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 How'd you remember your lines?
It was very tricky. I had to write them down several times. And then
everyone needs to know how much improv is involved in this podcast. Like, we're throwing each other on the spot like so much, or putting each other on the spot. We don't throw each other on the spot.
We throw each other under the bus, but we put each other on the spot.
Get on the spot.
Hey, it is draft season. We're so excited to get to some more mock drafts.
Mm-hmm.
Today we're doing it.
Everyone loves to mock. Everyone loves to mock, and I hope the only thing they like more than mock drafting is listening to other people mock draft.
It's literally the most exciting thing anybody could be doing with their time. This is so much fun. As we get closer to the season, we'll be doing more of these, maybe once a week. Who knows? But we're going to do it on the Sleeper platform because nicely, it is free. Wes and I can draft in the same draft together, claim our spots. Wes is going to be drafting from the 6th position. I'm going to be from the 7th. This is a 12-team PPR, 13 rounds. We're only doing 5 bench positions for time. We'll see how that goes, and we might cut that down in the future. 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 2 tight end, and 2 running back, wide receiver, tight end flex positions. So that's the setup. This will work out pretty nicely. And Wes, since you're going to start, I'm going to go ahead and start the draft, and then you can talk us through your first thoughts. I guess I should mention.
Did you tell him the rules, Caleb? Caleb he's like, what's that movie? Saul. You're like the little guy. Like you've set up these weird rules, and now you sit back and enjoy me suffering, taking no quarterback or tight end until the 10th, after the 10th.
Yes, sorry. That's what it is. Wes is not allowed to take a quarterback or a tight end until after the 10th round, which would be more up my alley. Instead, I have to take a tight end and a quarterback up front. I'm still going to try and go based on my rankings. So quarterback, I'm still aiming for Andrew Luck. So I may be able to hang back another round to grab him. But let's get it started. I'm going to begin the draft, and let's do it.
Yours is definitely a harder strategy than mine. Okay, I'm already ticked off. Why the heck? Okay, I have the 6th pick. If everyone didn't hear that, I have the 6th pick. David Johnson sitting there, or can I have DeAndre Hopkins, Le'Veon Bell? Oh my gosh, man. Honestly, I think
you go wide receiver heavy, or you go.
I like running backs, man. I like running backs. I think David Johnson in that offense this year is going to totally turn it around. Everyone forgets about that massive season he had.
Yeah.
After he got hurt, it's great. So go ahead, Caleb.
I absolutely love it. I love David Johnson at that point. So I am going to go. I'm going to see what it's like to grab top tight end and quarterbacks up front. And because I'm at the 7th position, Kelce is not going to get back to me. So yes, I'm going to take Travis Kelce as the 107. That most likely no one will ever do in their right mind. Michael Thomas, DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Julio Jones, Smith-Schuster, there goes Bell, Connor, Mixon, Brown, Gurley. And back to me. This is where I'm at an impasse because I know I got to go quarterback early, but it doesn't mean I have to go quarterback first because Patrick Mahomes, although he is consensus here, number one, for me and Wes, Andrew Luck is actually our consensus number one, so I can kind of wait on him. And I think this is a good place. I'm getting him back in the middle of the 2nd round. I'm actually really happy to grab Dalvin Cook here because I think he's going to have a lot of value. And I think mostly I'm doing it because I think I'm taking him from Wes from the next pick.
You fool! I am so freaking aroused for Odell Beckham this year, and the fact that you skipped over him and he fell to my lap pleases me, man. I can't. I'm telling you. Oh crap!
Hey, well it's okay. You got time. So you got Odell Beckham. Evans is gone. Chubb, Williams, Cooper. Yes, some fool took Cooper in the 2nd round.
So it's back to me. Top 2 players waiting for me are Zach Ertz and Patrick Mahomes. Due to Caleb's cruel rules, I'll have to wait. So I'm sitting there. I got a top running back, a top wide receiver. Oh, man, that running backs drop off quick.
Yeah.
The top running back right now is Josh Jacobs. Oh, Marlon Mack and Josh Jacobs. George Kittle.
I mean,
man.
Josh Jacobs might see more playtime than Marlon Mack, but Marlon Mack is probably on the better offense, at least on paper.
Yep. Hold on. I got to scroll up. Okay. I'm thinking this guy is going to have a bounce back, and I am going to say this is going to be this guy's last really good year.
Who are we talking about? Oh, you went AJ Green. He's a tricky guy, man. Me personally, I think I've said this before, is that I'd rather take the value of Tyler Boyd later than trying to get, AJ Green this early.
I'm just telling you this. When healthy, what he has going on with Andy Dalton is a wonder of the world because he can succeed with the Red Rocket.
Yep.
That's kind of a big deal. Oh, okay. Oh,
I took a stab on Kerryon Johnson.
A stab with your
I don't have the same confidence, believe it or not, in Marlon Mack or Josh Jacobs, and it was a great time to grab him. I wasn't taking him super early, and I did that because I knew Andrew Luck would fall right back to me, and here he is. His average ADP is 47. I'm taking him at 4.6, so Andrew Luck, I got to take him here.
Oh, God, man. Oh, gosh.
Let me just tell you, I have Travis Kelce, Dalvin Cook, Kerryon Johnson, and Andrew Luck right now. It's looking
I'm at a huge moral dilemma right now.
Wes currently has David Johnson, Odell Beckham Jr., and A.J. Green. Are you looking running back or wide receiver?
This is what I'm saying. A decision that a lot of people are going to face this year.
Tyreek
Hill.
Mm.
I hate him.
I guess it depends. Do you think is he going to get a suspension or not? Because on the running back side, you got David Montgomery, Phillip Lindsay, Mark Ingram, Kenyon Drake next. It's a little bit shallower on the running back end.
It sure is, but that's not going to make me panic none.
Yeah, there's a lot of good wide receivers, which I'm not mad about waiting so long to take a wide receiver.
I'm going to do something that's going to probably make you scratch your head.
Oh.
I know you're pro Royce Freeman, but I still think Phillip Lindsay is the start. Oh crap!
I
Go again.
Miss Drake. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Lindsey and Freeman later, so we'll get on that train.
Okay, everybody. Here's time for my favorite pick. Everyone, hold on to your.
You've got time. Minute 45.
I don't have time. You want time?
What are you talking about?
Take your time.
I want you to talk about your picks. Lockett. Oh, I do love Lockett. So I have my tight end. I have my starting running backs. I have my quarterback. Now I really need to think about taking wide receivers. And there's some good ones on the board. The problem is waiting this long is doubtful getting to number one. Unless Tyreek Hill is suspended, because Sammy Watkins is there, no matter how much I don't like him either. So I have Chris Godwin, Jarvis Landry. Too expensive for Landry. Mike Williams, Tyler Boyd, DJ Moore. A lot of guys I like, but I am happy taking the upside of Chris Godwin here as my first wide receiver. I'm going to be counting so much on just upside in this draft on wide receivers.
You should just name your team Upside.
The Upside. I think that's a movie with Sandra Bullock, maybe.
The Upside?
Ooh.
I think you're thinking of...
Wes, look at the top three wide receivers. So I need another wide receiver here. I got DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, or Dante Pettis. That's a tough one for me. I think DJ Moore is likely still going to be the number one on that team. Robbie Anderson could easily be the number one on that team. But do I have more confidence in Carolina quarterback in Newton over Darnold? Oh.
Are you not even considering Dante Penis?
No, I also like Dante Pettis, but there's a chance he might slide back to me. I am going to take... Ooh, I scrolled up. I'm going to take DJ Moore. I was hoping you'd help me and talk to me a little bit.
Help you? Everyone knows it's war at the draft. No, I'd have taken DJ... I don't know, man.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one. Okay, enough about you, Caleb. It's not always about you. Okay, man. Look, I'm set. I got two nice receivers, two pretty good running backs. I'm not totally sold on my running back, so I'm going to take a running back right now. I got Tevin Coleman, Darius Geis, Darrell Henderson. Okay, try not throwing up, Caleb.
That's the tricky thing about running backs this year, is that there are good running backs, but, I mean, we're in the 6th round, and it's thin. I mean, it's getting to that point where it's secondary running backs or sleeper running backs almost already.
You're getting to the point. This is basically your ancillary rounds.
These are already for running backs. But do you believe in Tevin Coleman as the number one in San Francisco?
Let me tell you what, this person I'm about to draft, I've had such a love-hate relationship since this podcast started. I'm hot for him. I back off of him. I'm hot for him. I cool off on him. Guess what, Caleb? I'm hot for him.
Oh, he took Geis.
Do you have a get? Caleb.
I think Adrian Peterson. What?
I was going to make a pun.
Oh, sorry. I think Adrian Peterson was just named their starter.
You think I care? You think I care about that?
After Geis, Ebron's gone. Darrell Henderson, Tevin Coleman's gone. Rashad Penny, Lamar Miller. So it's good you grabbed another running back to add to David Johnson, Philip Lindsay, because everybody has the same idea right now.
Yeah, well, what can I say? I'm a trendsetter. Okay, let's check this out. My running back's pretty happy with him right now. We are in the 7th right now, so quarterbacks and tight ends are off limits.
Don't you do it. Don't you do it.
Oh, man.
I told you you'd get back to me.
Okay. Oh, shoot. Is it my turn? Why won't it let me draft? Okay.
Yeah,
Caleb, you know what makes me a man?
What?
A Pettis!
No! If it wasn't you, I think he would have gotten back to me. Because that's why I held off for last round, because I thought, I can get Pettis this round. I have 2 running backs right now. I definitely need more. Latavius Murray is there. He has his obvious upside, taking over Mark Ingram's role. Kareem Hunt, I don't know, this early, I don't know if he's worth the 8 games. Ronald Jones, I'm staying away from. LaShawn McCoy, Jordan Howard. I do love Royce Freeman, but I don't need to take him right here. So I'm going to take a little stab at Latavius Murray.
Stab him.
I still think this is almost too early for a player like Latavius Murray because Alvin Kamara is there. But if Alvin Kamara went down, oh my gosh, Latavius Murray becomes a top 10 running back.
But also, let's remember, Mark Ingram was not the starter. Alvin Kamara was, and Mark Ingram put up some really good stats.
Yeah.
Everyone should not think that Alvin Kamara all of a sudden is going to be the workhorse. He does not have the body to be a workhorse. Latavius Murray is going to step right in there and be your Mark Ingram. So he is going to be getting a lot of touchdown opportunity and a lot of carries. He's not going to be your average, 6-7 carry a game backup.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm also going to take Royce Freeman because he wasn't going to make it back around to me. And that'll finish off my running backs pretty much. Somebody else needs another running back.
Do I?
Well, you got Darius Geis. Maybe you should take Adrian Peterson here so you lock up that Washington backfield.
Maybe I'm just going to sit back and make you guess what my next pick's going to be.
I quit. I'm leaving. Where's the exit?
Okay, here's my thought process.
Yeah.
No. I'm down to two guys. One of them is someone that I'm kind of hot on that I don't really want to tell you about, Caleb, but I'm kind of have to. I'm just basically trying to decide receiver or running back. And I think since I took Geis, I'm just going to go No. I'm going to go wide receiver. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for this. And you're going to make fun of me and tell all the people to make fun. Yeah, I will. His name's Larry Fitzgerald. Did you ever hear of him? He's a dude from Arizona.
Yeah.
I also like D'Onta Foreman, man. Like, they are saying he's light years ahead of where he was last year. But they say that every offseason. But I really feel like this is the year that... Lamar Miller is just so vanilla, man.
Yeah. And there goes Larry. He took Larry. I agree. I think D'Onta Foreman has super huge... Oh, and there goes Foreman. Didn't come back to you. Didn't come back to you. He's in a situation. You're now... there has been 5, 10, 11 quarterbacks off the board. You still have... This is your last round before you get to pick a quarterback.
I know. Very excited.
Plenty of good quarterbacks out there, though. Jared Goff, Jameis Winston, Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger.
Dude, how about... I'm looking at the running backs available. How about Jay Ajayi still not signed by an actual NFL team?
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I at this point, it's going to be an injury, I think, that somebody's going to bring him in. I can see him, like, Tampa Bay has very little in the backfield. Could see a team like Tampa Bay bringing him in if Peyton Barber or somebody goes down. Nevertheless, I'm still surprised Jay Ajayi is being drafted as high as he is compared to some of these guys.
I am going to take this next guy only because of some whispers I hear coming out of Pittsburgh. I was looking over a few players. I was considering Adrian Peterson, but I don't want to have to deal with that mess, so I'm just going to take temptation away from me. Devin Singletary is a tease, but I think this is way too early for him right now. So I think what I'm going to do is take this dude, Mr. Jalen Samuels.
Ooh.
I would never have drafted him this high before, but apparently something in Pittsburgh is happening that has not happened in a long time.
RBDC?
And they are talking about something like that, yeah, about splitting the workload, not giving Connor near the workload. And Jalen Samuels is going to be...
Connor did just come out and say that he expects the same thing as last year. But you never know. You never know. I like Jalen Samuels. I took him in a couple of mock drafts because I think it's a valuable backfield to be a part of. I took Marvin Jones with my next pick after that. Then a couple more wide receivers off the board. Eckler, Jared Goff, Phillip Rivers were taken off the board. Goff almost made it to you. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, which he's moving way up above Geronimo Allison. I mean, the gap has closed tremendously. I'm going to go another wide receiver. I got D.D. Westbrook here, Cortland Sutton. I am big on Sutton, even though I'm not sure about Flacco, but Flacco can throw a nice deep ball. Westbrook could have some great value in Jacksonville if it turns out Foles is going to be able to throw that ball around. So even back here in the 10th round, There's some awesome value at wide receiver. I think this is such a huge pool of wide receivers this year. Easy to get it wrong, but I'm going to take Cortland Sutton here as my fourth wide receiver. Yeah, that's a little scary to say, but hey.
No.
He could be a number one wide receiver, and I'm getting him in the 10th round.
So I'm checking out. I can definitely wait on quarterbacks, I feel. They're all pretty mediocre or above average.
Yep.
Looking at the tight ends, man, TJ Hawkinson, I am high on this guy, but do I expect him to make an immediate impact the first couple weeks? I mean, as your number one tight end, NFL teams can have patience.
Yeah.
Your fantasy football team cannot. Austin Hooper's there. Rob Gronkowski. If you want to, play the risky game.
Jason Witten.
Yeah, we all know how I feel about that. Delaney Walker. Now, that's someone who's teased me a little bit. If he comes back fully healthy, he's like the only successful thing to come out of that offense other than Derrick Henry for like 3 or 4 games. I'm also feeling like I shouldn't be tied down to tight end. I'm looking at receivers, and Deshaun Jackson has been catching my eye ever since he went to Philadelphia. I feel like he could play a big role there. Finally, a deep threat. James Washington. Like, this is part of the draft that separates, everyone, first, second, third round, everyone's going to take, the top of the board. This is where you separate yourself.
Absolutely.
D.D. Westbrook, James Washington. You still got Emmanuel Sanders out there.
There's still a good chance that other teams are going to take a second tight end, but I mean, Trey Burton, Kyle Rudolph, Mark Andrews, Jack Doyle's still there, Tyler Eifert, a lot of guys. Oh, and you took Delaney Walker anyway.
I like to do it while you're talking.
Just, you jerk. And hey, after Delaney Walker, Austin Hooper, TJ Hawkinson, Carlos Hyde, Jameis Winston, a lot of quarterbacks are off the board, and it's
I'll say this: Delaney Walker, he might not give me huge numbers, but I feel like I can take a high ceiling tight end later, like maybe a Noah Fant or something. But yeah. Delaney Walker is going to be my consistent guy through the first half of the season. So I feel comfortable with that pick. I'm happy with that pick.
Yeah, do people forget how good Delaney Walker was? I mean, he's dealt with minor injuries, but last year seems like the first year that he was seriously injured. And he was always really good.
I agree. Looking at the quarterbacks, they still haven't. I think I'll wait on that.
Yeah, I mean, what really is the split between like Dak Prescott, Jimmy Garoppolo, Josh Allen, Matt Stafford, Derek Carr?
Exactly.
Yeah. I know you want Eli Manning.
Shut up, Caleb. That's my sleeper.
Giving it away.
Okay, I'm in the 11th round right now. I'm going to select my... And I know you like me talk about players, but there's really not a bunch of players I'm looking at. I'm looking at some of these receivers. There's a couple receivers that are teasing me right now, but there's only one running back that is teasing me. This is someone I'm going to stash, and, come in the middle of the season, maybe later, I think he's going to be someone that has an impact. If he doesn't, in the 11th round, I can live with it. But everyone tease yourself for Devin Singletary.
I like it because I don't think that LaShawn McCoy is going to last there, and I know there's some other players there, but like you said, easily second half of the season, he could have a starting role. And now here, I'm taking this a little bit earlier than I would normally, but because I have Dalvin Cook and because of his injury history, Alexander Mattison is sitting right here, and he's going to step in if Dalvin Cook goes down. So I'm going to take a handcuff. Again, a little bit earlier than I would generally, but I have to. He's going to go if I don't grab him. Next is Emmanuel Sanders, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jay Ajayi, Curtis Samuel, Tyrell Williams, Dak Prescott, Gronkowski. He got drafted. What do you know?
Oh, God.
Hey,
Nice.
You never know. I don't think he's coming back this time, but you just don't know. I have to have another wide receiver. I'll probably take wide receiver for my last 2 picks. And here is a little bit tricky because I love James Washington, but I've been hearing so much stinking talk about Dante Moncrief that it's hard for me to ignore. I don't want to go for a rookie wide receiver, as I just don't think they perform enough to have enough value on my team for a whole season. it's rare that you get the Odell Beckhams, and even he didn't perform for the first couple of weeks. So I am going to go with James. I'm going to go with James Washington because I think he's a really good player, even though Dante Moncrief is going to end up overtaking him. Oh man, maybe I like Deshaun Hamilton. I'm tilting. I'm tilting so hard. Oh, somebody talked me off a ledge. I'm just going to take James Washington because, I want some Steelers offense. I think that's the first Steelers player I got. Wes, you currently have 5 running backs. You have 5 wide receivers. You got your tight end, but no quarterback.
That's true. And I'm trying to consider if I should just grab 2 quarterbacks with my last 2 picks.
Oh.
And I think that's what I'm going to do. Sam Bradford. Who makes these rankings up?
I don't know.
He's like the 4th ranked quarterback left.
Is he even on a team?
No.
Yeah.
He's ranked above Matt Stafford, Derek Carr.
Somebody thinks he's going to get picked up that badly that he's automatically going to be over those players. I don't think so. I really think both Stafford, Carr are going to be like top 15. I think they're going to change this year around.
I know you're going to hate this. No. You know what? I'm just going to do it. Okay?
You're taking Lamar Jackson, aren't you?
Never!
Do
I have a gun to my head, Caleb?
I like Josh Allen. I love that pick.
I was going to take Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, I'm surprised you didn't. You were really high on him.
I am, but just thinking about my next pick, since I'm taking 2 quarterbacks here, Josh Allen, I feel like Mitchell Trubisky could be more consistent. I feel like Josh Allen could have some big blow-up games. And usually if I take 2 quarterbacks, I usually look at the bye weeks as a factor. I don't have time for that right now. So my weekly starter is actually going to be my last quarterback taken, and that's going to be Derek Carr.
Woo-woo. Yep, I like it.
And the worst thing that could happen is I start streaming dudes.
Yeah.
Cartwright-esque.
It's actually one of the worst things to do sometimes. It feels so bad when you're doing it, but I don't mind it.
We're talking about the draft, right? Or we're talking about fantasy football.
Yes and no. My last pick, I am going to grab a deep sleeper on my Miami Dolphins just for the fun of it. I'm going to take Albert Wilson because I think for all the wide receivers on that team, he's got that gadget playability and can be stinking awesome. So,
yeah, I think he's going to be better than Devon. Fitzpatrick starts, man. That changes the whole game. Albert Wilson will be really good, but if Rosen takes it, I don't know.
So, my team, my quarterback is Andrew Luck. My running backs are Dalvin Cook, Kerryon Johnson, Latavius Murray, Royce Freeman, Alexander Madison. My wide receivers are Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, Marvin Jones, Cortland Sutton, James Washington, and Albert Wilson. And my tight end is Travis Kelce. Not bad.
Take this. All right, say we're facing head off. Head to head, Caleb, facing off. I got Josh Allen starting. David Johnson at running back. Phillip Lindsay, wide receiver. Odell Beckham and A.J. Green.
Giggity.
Delaney Walker as my tight end. My flex is Tyler Lockett and Darius Geis, which probably week 1 I would not have him in there.
Mm-mm.
My bench players are, as receivers go, Dante Penis, Larry Fitzgerald. Running back is Jalen Samuels and Devin Singletary, and Derek Carr as my little safety net for quarterback. So as far as mocks go, this is one of my least favorite I've ever done. I don't know if it's because of the no tight end, no quarterback thing, or just how the marbles fell, or however that expression goes.
Yeah, the marbles. I don't know. I'm not in love with AJ Green, but he could be really good. If you look at his history, that's the problem. The history of never playing full seasons. But you do have Odell Beckham, David Johnson, who we both like a lot. We both like Lockett. Lindsay, what you have is like that. You have a lot of potential, right? Pettis could become the number 1 on that team and just blow up if Garoppolo is good.
I'm looking at your team, and the only thing I have to say about that is quarterback, dig it. Running backs, rock solid. The wide receivers, a little scary. Like your number 1 receiver isn't a number one receiver on his team.
Yeah.
But you got to sacrifice, and Royce Freeman being one of your flex, which I don't even know if you do that.
Yeah, it's just automatic. It just slots.
You're much more roused for Royce than I am. I know that for sure.
Well, why don't we just get into our next segment, and maybe I can tell you a little bit about why.
Did I do that on purpose, Caleb? Ask me.
Oh, did you?
Nope.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was totally clueless on the next segment.
Hope you enjoyed the mock draft. We'll speed it along now as we, always take more time than we want. But this next segment, as you might have heard in our intro, are very, very good highbrow intro that we did. Who's on the rise? Who do we like so far in this offseason that's been climbing up our personal boards? Would you like me to start, or you want to go?
I would like for you to start, for I am not prepared.
That's okay. I'm only going to do one right now, and we're going to talk about this kind of more on a weekly basis about trending players and players on the rise as we get into draft season. So, my guy right now is Royce Freeman, as we talked about. When you drafted Phillip Lindsay, I don't blame you. Phillip Lindsay is like becoming the heart of that team, that Denver team. An undrafted running back comes in and does what he does.
Yeah. How can you not love him, man?
His injury was a wrist injury, so I'm not all that concerned about his injury. So why do I like Royce Freeman more? Well, one thing that this injury has done is it's separated Phillip Lindsay from the team. Even for that 3-day rookie minicamp, here comes Royce Freeman, and he's taking first-team snaps. He's bonding with the players more. And this guy is not a small guy by any means, by the way. Royce Freeman is a big dude, a heavy dude, not like Phillip Lindsay. He's the kind of back that I would be willing to bet that Royce Freeman is going to get more carries than Phillip Lindsay this year. I do think that in the passing game, Phillip Lindsay will be more utilized. But if it comes training camp time and Royce Freeman is getting any time without Phillip Lindsay again and come training camp, he's going to get that connection more solidified with their new quarterbacks, with their new coaches, with their new team in general. And I just think it's going to allow Royce Freeman to take that step ahead. And they did spend some high draft capital on him, so there's no way he's going nowhere. If this could easily be a team where it's a 2 running back situation, which happens a lot in the league, and I still like it. The Ravens, under Joe Flacco, had some pretty good running backs. So Joe Flacco is not going to entirely dominate the offense and throw the ball like mad. I mean, Royce Freeman is a really good player. He averaged over 4 yards a carry in his limited playing, snaps that he did. He still had 5 touchdowns. This year, I see all that taking an uptick. And getting a player like that back in, what round did I grab him? Let me look real quick. I took him back in the 8th round, but he's generally getting taken in the 9th round. So if you can get a RB2 where he could finish in the 9th round, I'm really happy about that. Royce Freeman, I'm really growing on. Phillip Lindsay is fine. I still think he's being drafted too high, for some of these other players that are around him. But, I mean, you've taken Phillip Lindsay over like Mark Ingram, who is definitely the number 1 back in that backfield. That's tough pill for me to swallow, if you know what I mean. And that's why I like Royce Freeman, though.
Okay. Do you have any WD-40 on you, Caleb? Because this chair, just listen. Now it won't do it. God dang it, I knew it was. It's like when it makes a fart noise, and then you're like, no, it was the chair, and the chair just, like an a-hole, just quiets up. If anyone hears a squeaking noise, it's just me rocking, and once in a while I'll just shriek out in fear.
Sure.
Okay. Quiet, Caleb, I'm not farting. So my guy that I'm pretty excited about is not a young guy. He's an old feller. Any guesses? It's Larry Fitzgerald.
That was going to be my guess.
I wouldn't have guessed this until I started doing some research. He's being taken as the 40th wide receiver, which is pretty insane. He's finished in the top 30 of wide receivers in 13 of his last 15 seasons, including the last 4. His competition is Christian Kirk and a bunch of rookies. In this hot new offense, man, with Kingsbury as a coach, Murray as the quarterback, Fitzgerald is going to be a big benefactor from all this. It's in practice and stuff. This Cardinals offense has been, it's been run out primarily out of the shotgun. It's going to be a definite run and gun, an air raid offense, something like the NFL really isn't accustomed to, even though it is a passing league. This is going to be definitely like a college-like offense. They ran the ball a lot last year. Everyone knows there was no one that was going to succeed in that Arizona offense last year. They ran the ball too much last year. They sucked at running the ball last year. This is going to be a completely different Cardinals team. I'm not saying it's going to be a complete turnaround like when we saw Fitzgerald getting the ball thrown to him by a bunch of nobodies like Kevin Cobb and all them, and then Kurt Warner signed on and revived his career. But you could see him turning things around to being a top 20, top 15 receiver maybe. And just keep in mind, he has had at least 100 targets in every single year of his NFL career. And even though this is his last year, I don't know why that would end now. So even though everyone says he has a down year and all that stuff, he's still finishing in the top 30, and he's being taken as the 40th receiver right now. You could be getting a great number 2 receiver in middle to late rounds. Like, are you flipping kidding me? What are you guys drinking over there? Urine?
Well, that's all I drink. It's sterile, and I like the taste. Yeah, I think I listened to the talk way too much about the negatives of Larry Fitzgerald because he is an awesome receiver. Last year, I actually had him, and I dropped him before the offensive the changes happened. And then after it happened, he was a stud wide receiver again. And he's definitely a great wide receiver. And wide receivers can go well into an older career.
But just listen, if you take him where he's being taken at right now, wide receiver wise, wide receiver wise, he's being drafted around Kiki Kuti and Curtis Samuel. So, in my humble opinion, I feel like that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Huh? You talked me into him. I'm going to take him in all of your drafts.
I'm kidding! He'll probably retire very soon before the season. Only an idiot would take him.
So listen up, everybody. Keep an eye on these players. If you agree with us, great. If you don't agree with us, too bad. Get out. Nobody asked you.
We're frickin' geniuses. You should know that by now.
That's it. I can't wait until we do a hot take show before the season starts, and we this is what I plan to do, is say, who do you think is going to finish as the number 1 wide receiver this year? And I want a hot take. I don't want you to say Saquon Barkley. Okay?
That would be a hot take if he finishes the number 1 wide receiver, though.
You didn't know? You didn't hear the news that he was changing positions? Can we talk about the NBA now?
I know. Done. Okay, everyone, it's all what you've been waiting for. NBA.
Hey, let's break down a couple more teams. In future episodes, we're going to start putting some teams together because we're getting pretty close to the season. Some more teams, but we're going to start out and finish the NFC East and the Washington Redskins and the New York Giants because they are the most fantasy relevant teams, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, if you're looking to throw up.
Mm-hmm. Well, listen.
Good one, Wes.
I don't have a ton that I want to say about the Redskins. Last year they finished 7-9. It was very, very scary injuries to Alex Smith and then Colt McCoy. Unfortunately, they lost Darius Geis before the season ever started, but they brought Adrian Peterson in, and he ran for over 1,000 yards, and he did pretty good. But they just have I don't know the word. They just have so many tier 2, tier 3, and beyond, right, players. So for fantasy relevance, when I'm talking about the Washington Redskins, Case Keenum is right now listed as the starter, but you have Dwayne Haskins, Colt McCoy, both vying for that number 1 spot. And, some of the Redskins are saying that that McCoy could win that starting job if he comes back healthy. Haskins, obviously, they put some first round draft capital into, so they expect him to be the starter in the future. Darius Geis, his recovery is coming along, and they expect him to be ready for training camp, which would be great. If he can be healthy, he was a really, really loved running back. And I don't know why people have stopped talking about Chris Thompson. Yes, he had a really poor year last year and got himself injured as well. But, man, was he a PPR monster.
A PPR monster. Big time.
Seasons past. So that's a guy I think you can get in late rounds that could have some serious upside. Adrian Peterson, he's not going to win weeks for you, and he will have some decent games, but hard to say what he's going to do this year. Wide receivers, I don't know, man. I like Trey Quinn. I've talked about that before. He's locked in as a slot receiver, and I love slot receivers, especially on bad offenses like this, because they got to get that ball off fast. But they have Josh Doxson, Paul Richardson, no huge name wide receivers that you're grabbing in any early rounds. And I rarely see any wide receivers on that team being drafted at all. But keep your eye on a couple of them. Tight ends, Jordan Reed is back again. He's made of glass at this point. I don't know that he can survive another season. It was unfortunate, but because he was also a touchdown machine when he was healthy. So there is some late round value here that you're still going to take a shot in the dark with a lot of these players and hope that they have some value. But is it the kind of player that you want to actually sit on and take up a roster spot?
Do you hear that, Caleb?
Oh, I hear that.
See, I told you it wasn't my butt.
It more sounds like in a horror movie, like when the guy with the knife is pulling back the curtain to stab the person. It's like...
Funny you say that. I am currently being stabbed. It's kind of ironic. No, I was... Okay. Are you done?
Yeah, I'm done, yes.
Okay, I'm going to go over briefly. I really want to keep this brief because these two teams are not the most fantasy relevant. Redskins free agency, they threw some bucks around. Landon Collins solves their safety issues, but for $84 million, a little salty. He's 25 years old. He's already made 3 Pro Bowls. He's a great leader. A little fun fact for you, Caleb, is Redskins could possibly... Out of 11 defensive starters, 7 of them could be from the Alabama Crimson Tide. Yeah. So there's some unity over on that side of the ball. They re-signed Adrian Peterson to be their starter. For how long, honestly? They took Darius Geis with their second-round pick last year. I feel like this year with Adrian Peterson, he's basically just going to stay there until they know Geis is fully healthy again. Like, Peterson was brought over to New Orleans as a backup plan for Mark Ingram. He's just a placeholder right now, I feel like. He might not know that. You might not know that, Caleb. They drafted Geis to be the workhorse, and I think that's what he's going to be. They signed Dominique Rogers-Cromartie. Who gives a crap? In the draft, believe it or not, the Redskins were nice and patient, and who fell to their lap was arguably the best quarterback of the draft, Dwayne Haskins. He can throw the ball down the field. He makes smart decisions. I would not be surprised if not by week 1, at least by midpoint of the season, be their starter. They traded back into the first round for Montez Sweat, which arguably could be the steal of the draft if he wasn't misdiagnosed with a heart condition, so he could have been a top 10 pick. They had a really good draft. They took a wide receiver out of OSU, Terry McLaurin. Obviously has a good rapport with Dwayne Haskins because they both went to the same school. Home run hitter, 20 yards a catch. Bryce Love, another running back. That running back their committee is so stacked right now with running backs. Really good running back out of Stanford. Junior year, he had over 2,000 rushing yards, 19 touchdowns. I think he could take over for Chris Thompson if he continues to be injured a lot. Quick watch. Who do you think I'm going to take, Caleb? Who am I watching in Washington? I did not mean to do that. Who am I doing in Washington?
Washington, man, that is it's really tough. I guess you have to watch Geis, right?
Very good. I was going to do Trey Quinn because I think out of any of the receivers, I think he has the potential, taking over for Jamison Crowder in the slot. He has potential to be the most fantasy relevant wide receiver on that team, but I am going with Geis. Lots of hype last year, man, before his ACL tear in the preseason. He's young. They, like I said, drafted to be the workhorse. Adrian Peterson, in my stupid opinion, is just an insurance policy. They can name him the starter in June. Who gives a crap? I mean, preseason isn't even that close, so who cares? Week 1 is in a couple months. So if they want to do that just to make him happy, that's fine. You could have him as your number 3 running back. He's being drafted around Lamar Miller, Tevin Coleman, Latavius Murray. I feel like he has a lot more. I mean, who would take Lamar Miller over him? A fool, a stupid fool. Who's my avoid, Caleb? And you were never gonna get this.
Adrian Peterson.
No.
Oh.
Honestly, I just put down everybody else on the Redskins. I don't want any quarterback. I don't want any receiver. Josh Doxson's their number 1. He is a huge disappointment. Jordan Reed stars in that new movie Glass, I think. Mr. Glass. Yeah, honestly, I don't see anyone being super relevant other than Geis, maybe Trey Quinn. Everyone else I don't want a part of. So
yeah,
that's my Redskin take.
It's unfortunate. Their over-under is, I mean, it's set at 6 right now. I'm happy to take the under on that one. I mean, wins have to go somewhere, but I don't think they'll go the Redskins' way.
I agree. Yeah, I'm taking the under on that. I could definitely see a 4-12, 5-11 season.
Yeah, not great. Sorry, Washington. You gotta pull it together.
They know, Caleb. They know.
New York Giants. Why do people say the New York Football Giants?
So they don't confuse them with the New York Baseball Giants.
No, that's not it.
I don't know. Well, then I'm out of ideas.
Isn't it the San Francisco Giants or something like that?
It is. I think it used to be the baseball team used to be the New York Giants.
Okay. Well,
or I'm just pulling that out of my butt.
Maybe. I've always wondered that. I'm like, I know they're the New York Football Giants. I get it.
I think they were the Brooklyn Giants, but I'm not sure.
The Giants, they have arguably the number 1 running back. Between him, Elliott Kamara, Saquon Barkley is phenomenal. An extreme freak of an athlete and a very rare generational type running back. He is their entire offense, really the centerpiece, and hopefully he can take pressure off and create room for players like Evan Ingram, who a lot of people are high on. Eli Manning, likely, last year he had some very, very, very minor streaming value, but you don't want any part in Eli Manning. He seems to be going downhill. The offense is not friendly for the passing in general, but he's just not a very accurate quarterback anymore. They don't have
He's not what you'd call good.
He's got 2 Super Bowls. It's so hard for me to bash somebody with 2 Super Bowls like that. But wide receivers.
But let's remember why they won those Super Bowls, Caleb. Come on.
That's true. Eli Manning.
Come on.
Eli Manning. I get it.
Come on.
Couple of wide receivers to look at, though. Sterling Shepard could take a step up here because OBJ is gone. Then you have Golden Tate that was brought in from the Detroit Lions, signed to a very pricey deal, surprisingly. Corey Coleman they brought in, Cody Latimer. They have a lot of very distant wide receivers back there, but Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard could hold some value in late rounds. Evan Ingram, obviously, we've talked about last week, is being touted as one of the most targeted tight ends this season behind the big 3. And for good reason. Eli Manning is probably going to check down a lot, either to Saquon Barkley or Evan Ingram, but Evan Ingram's also a big guy and a fast guy that can take off down the field. So there is actually some decent fantasy value on the team. It's not like every single position, but there's some players that you can certainly look at drafting. Definitely not the running back. Leave that to me. And they even grabbed, I didn't even know they grabbed Rod Smith from after the Dallas Cowboys let him go. But that's all. That's all I got on the Giants.
Wish my name was Rod.
Rod.
Hey, Rod. Don't spare the rod. Hey, while you were talking about football and stuff, I was looking. The San Francisco Giants used to be the New York Giants from 1883 to 1957, so I hate to say I was right, but I might have been right.
Only
on a total guess.
70 years ago.
Yeah, we were around to hear that, Caleb. If anyone doesn't know, we are over 60 years old.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know it. One day we'll post a picture. You're going to see our long, craggy white beards.
If we can ever figure out how to work these smartphones, maybe. Okay, quick take on the Giants. Golden Tate, big signing, obviously. He'll fit in with Ingram, Barkley. A lot of money, like you said. A lot of guaranteed money for a 30-year-old that did not have a great year last year. Marcus Golden, good pass rusher. Big news, though, was the OBJ trade for Jabril Peppers, who's going to step in for Landon Collins. He's a budding star, so it wasn't a terrible return, especially what Pittsburgh got for Antonio Brown. But, he's a total superstar. It wasn't a great move, but they did it. They got Kevin Zeitler, the offensive lineman from the Browns, too. That offensive line may be starting to gel a little bit. Who knows? The draft, one of the most controversial drafts of any team this year. Daniel Jones. I think they got a lot of crap for that. I got to respect them, though. That was the guy they wanted. They didn't want to wait till their second first-round pick at 17. They wanted Eli Manning's, predecessor, so congratulations. You got someone that looks exactly like him. Then they got Dexter Lawrence, bit of a reach. He did not have many sacks in his college career. He was the third, actually, defensive lineman out of Clemson taken in the draft, but I think they're trying to go back to what won them Super Bowls. And it wasn't Eli Manning, it was that pass rush. Then they traded back into the first round. They had 3 first-round picks. DeAndre Baker, possibly the best cornerback in the draft. Who am I watching, Caleb?
Not the obvious one. Is it going to be the obvious one? That's all I need to know. I'll take a guess, but it might.
Obvious.
Okay.
Obvious.
Evan Ingram.
No. Obviously not that obvious.
Yeah.
Who's the not obvious guy?
Sterling Shepard.
Ooh, I had his name written down, and then as I was doing research, I convinced myself of another guy.
Dang it.
This guy, he's golden.
Kevin
Golden. Golden Taint. He's the 41st wide receiver taken. 41st. What? Carlos Hyde and the stinking Rams defense, who's the number 2 defense, is being taken around him. Give the man some respect. He was averaging almost 7 receptions a game with Detroit last year before he got traded to Philadelphia. Now he has a whole offseason to get acclimated with the New York Giants offense, or lack thereof. If he'd have just stayed with Detroit last year, he'd have been on pace for over 100 receptions, almost 1,200 yards, and 7 touchdowns, which would have been a completely different fantasy discussion right now.
It's a pretty good year.
He's never finished below a wide receiver 34 in 6 years, okay? And what do we know about Eli Manning? If it's past 10 yards, he's terrible. He dinks and he dunks. Saquon Barkley, Evan Ingram, obviously going to benefit from that, but what makes Golden Tate so good is his yards after the catch. A lot of wide receiver screens, a lot of short passes, and he makes, some yards downfield. So I think he's going to be fit in nicely with that offense. I did think of Sterling Shepard. I really like him, but I think Golden Tate might be, especially in PPR, might be the guy you want to target. I'm not even going to let you guess my avoid because honestly, I couldn't really come up with anyone. I was going to say Eli Manning, but everyone is avoiding him like the plague.
Pretty much.
I was going to try and come up with an argument why Saquon Barkley shouldn't be number 1 or 2 or something like that to avoid him where he's being taken. I couldn't come up with an argument for that. Evan Ingram, Golden Tate, Shepard, all these guys I think are appropriately rated other than Golden Tate, I think should be a little higher. But, I mean, anyone to avoid, I don't think anyone's ranked too high. So I couldn't come up with an argument. I failed you.
It's okay. You could have gone, like, super deep. Like, Corey Coleman, don't fall into that trap.
Their fifth receiver.
Yeah, don't go for the number 5 wide receiver on their team. They can't sustain. Well, over-under is also at 6.
It's 5.5, isn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I just looked at it right now. I just see one that says 6 from USA Today. So,
what about the one I sent you?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't pull it up.
Giggity. Giants, 5.5. Go ahead.
Giants, 5.5. I think off the back of Saquon Barkley alone, they can win 6 games.
God dang it, Caleb. I am so tired of agreeing with you. Yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, no way he picks over because it's the stinking Giants. I'm going to look so hot take-ish with saying over. And you're like, I got to go over. Dang it.
I have to because I just think Saquon can win them 6 games alone.
I agree, man. I think this roster's a little underrated. I think they're getting a lot of flack for what Gettleman's doing, but I think quietly they can pull off 6 wins at least. Yeah,
you don't have to have a number 1 offense, but you just have to have really good defense. So who knows? Maybe they'll be really good on defense.
Very good. Very good.
All right. Hey, we finished that one. Half the teams are down. I think we're going to go over divisions as a whole, kind of shorten it a little bit over the next 4 weeks and talk about some more people on the rise, more trending guys, and maybe do some mock drafts. Maybe not.
Hey.
My stipulation next week will be no running backs or wide receivers before round 15 for you.
Your tight ends are awesome, man.
I'll put kickers and defenses in there for you.
Yeah, kicker and defense, first 2 rounds. Hey, I got a little trivia for you, Caleb.
Got it.
Are you ready?
Ready.
Sit down, shut up, and answer this. Something came out today. I was reading the most bet players to win the NFL MVP. Now, this is not the favorites. It's the ones that are being bet on the most to win it. Who do you think some of the top guys are? They have the top 5 right here.
Baker Mayfield.
Number 2, very good.
Aaron Rodgers.
Are you stupid? No!
People love him.
I'm kidding, yes. But the reason I'm saying that is like Aaron Rodgers probably has really high odds to win the MVP. That's why not a lot of people are betting on him. Okay. Mitchell Trubisky is the number 1 most bet player to win the NFL MVP.
Interesting. I can't even say interesting correctly.
Interesting. Yeah, it's Trubisky.
Very interesting.
Very good. Baker Mayfield, number 2. Saquon and Ezekiel Elliott tied for 3. And Derek Carr at number 5.
All right. I mean, I guess if you want to win, you're going to try and win big. So
just a little bit of a reward for those who made it through this hour-plus podcast with us. We do appreciate it.
We're right back to it somehow.
And as promised, if we go over an hour, for those who have listened, Caleb will pay for your mortgage this month.
Yes, but you have to send me all of your credit card information first for me to activate the transaction.
Yes, and he is able to have full access to your house at any time.
Yes, and your vehicles.
And family.
And your wives.
And family. And your wives.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I think
I'll have her tonight.
We'll stop that there.
Okay, bye.
Bye.